Hi besties, and we back, and we back, and we back, and we back. Tonight is gonna be a cozy night. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, besties, so this is my Dora the Explorer blanket from like early 2000s. I'm 24, but I'm allowed to have what I wanna have. Anywho, besties, I don't know, y'all. I think like when it comes down to hormones and ovulation cycles and your periods, it's crazy. And to know the amount of stress that women have to go through when it comes to ovulating and menstrual and non-menstrual, we have this week period where our body is literally preparing ourselves for our menstrual, and they say that we have like a week to just rest our bodies and that our bodies aren't doing anything crazy, but that's not the case, because every time we have a week where our bodies aren't doing anything crazy, making us crazy, or making us, go crazy, or whatever craziness that's happening, life is doing it to us. Life is really doing it to us. It's like, oh yeah, my whole cycle is done. I finally get this week to chill. Now my car won't start. And my dog ran away. I lost one of my favorite shoes at a party the other night that I went to, and I knew I shouldn't have been there, but I was there anyways. Listen, we listen and we don't judge. Now, this is not all happening to me. But it does happen to us, and a lot of us are going crazy too because there's so many hormones in our foods. Guys, they put so many hormones in our foods these days, and now it's really hard to eat meat, in any type of meat, unless you get it from a different country or you eat out of the country, that isn't overly processed and doesn't have a bunch of hormones in it. And when I say overly processed, I mean even like the impossible meat and stuff like that. We don't really know what's in that meat. You can read an ingredient all day. There are loopholes to what you can and can't put on any foods or any little package that sells something that's edible or usable for your bodies. Trust me, big corporations, little corporations, big businesses, little businesses, people have been getting away with it for a long time. And honestly, I don't think it's fair. When I was younger, I got on birth control because I was having the worst periods of my life. When I say the worst, I mean, I thought Freddy Krueger was coming to visit me every month and just my insides, because I couldn't walk, I couldn't think. I really just couldn't. I just couldn't. It wasn't like a, oh, you need to. Most medicines didn't work for me at all. And I wasn't old enough to use medicinal medicines, and it wasn't even legal in most states anyways, but when I was younger. So it was like, I had no other choice but to have hormonal imbalances or hormonal balances that potentially could ruin my life later on. The chickens started getting fatter as far as chicken wings, and people started making turkey tails, and all those hormones in the Depo-Provera, the patch. I never took the pill. I had an IUD before. No. I also had an implant, an Nexplanon inside my arm, and all of those things did crazy stuff to me. And for someone who has a diabetic track record in her family, that wasn't really good, because it would mess with my hormones. It would cause me to have depression. It would cause me to stress out. My period cycles would be crazy. I wouldn't be able to focus. I would be angry a lot of the times. I would have my cycle for a very long time. Like, I wouldn't have it for 3 months, and then I would have it for a month and a half. Like, it was a lot going on, and I genuinely thought I was going to DIE by the time I was like 20 years old, because I was going through all these hormonal imbalances, and I couldn't find anyone, not a herbalist, not a herbalist, not a blibblist, nobody to help me figure it out. Also, the internet was still developing, and a lot of people weren't really educating online as much as they are now, which I'm now grateful for, but back then it would have really saved me a lot of headache, I swear. Also, I wasn't really allowed to have a lot of electronics anyways, because, I was just doing stuff I had no business doing. But that's a different story for another time. We listen and we don't judge, friends. So I just want to point out to all of us girls who are dealing with things and our hormones and stuff like that, do some research about your body, but also do some research about hormones and things that affects your body, and things that you should or should not be putting in your body. I try not to eat as much food as I usually have eaten, especially when my metabolism was faster. Like I try not to eat as much dark meats. I try not to eat as much sausages or beef or like stuff like that. I try to eat more chicken and fish, but mostly fish now because like the hormones that are put inside of chickens these days, like guys, chicken wings used to be this big. They're now this big. What is going on? What is going on? Has anybody noticed like when you eat chicken, like you taste carcass? It's just me. Oh, okay. I be tasting carcass, y'all. I don't know what y'all be tasting, but it just be like, I don't want to eat this chicken anymore. I see why some of my friends did not eat the full chicken. Chad Johnson, I'm talking about you. I see it. I used to judge you, and I'm so sorry for judging you, but baby, you. Oh yeah, personal shout out to my boy Chad. Thank you for supporting me on everything that I've been doing. You've been my main supporter. You've been my number one supporter since day one. You've literally liked and watched all of my videos, and I really do appreciate your support. Holla! All right, back to the topic, y'all. Hormones are crazy, and if you don't get them, I should say, controlled or figured out, it's going to ruin your life. When I had my kiddo, I started to have PCOS. I probably had it way before then, but they weren't looking at me as a young girl or a young teenager for PCOS. They were just looking at me like, all right, this is another person I have to deal with for today. Let's figure out what the main problem is and get her out of here. That's how I felt. That's how I felt like I was treated. It is what it is. I got a voice now. Don't play with me like that again. And I won't play with myself like that again. So at the end of the day, developing PCOS, it really freaked me out because my hormones were fluctuating back and forth, my weight was fluctuating back and forth. I was getting body hair in places that a woman should not have body hair. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. A woman should not have body hair certain places. That's how I feel. That's it. That's all. You can feel however you want to feel about it. But when I seen my first chin hair, oh God, I almost lost my mind. Y'all, I had to pray because the chin hair, what do you mean a chin hair? I've never shaved in my chin or my facial area. Now I have peach fuzz. I've always had peach fuzz, and people tell me not to touch my peach fuzz because it's just natural hairs, and I get that, but like, really, nigga? But anywho, back to that. I also have like this really weird strength, and a lot of times like in science and in history, like I mean people have said all through medical history and all through science, like women have more fat than they do muscle and da 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 da, but I've always been extremely strong. Like I, even when I was just 120 pounds, baby, I was strong, uncannily strong, so strong I kind of surprised myself sometimes, and I didn't understand where that was coming from, but I never complained because I love being strong. Some of it had to do with just the fact that I had so many hormones, and I never really understood like the detriment of like hormone imbalance and testosterone balance, and I really didn't like care because like I said, like I was just so in my head when I was younger, like, oh, I'll be pretty forever, I'll be young looking forever, I'll be skinny forever. Like I knew eventually I would get older, but I never really took in factors of certain health risks, even though I learned about it in 8th grade, because it was like, oh, this is like stuff I have to deal with when I'm like 50. No, girl, this is stuff you have to deal with now as a teenager, as a young girl, as a adult. And like a lot of my adults in my life, they really didn't, I don't know, they didn't specify it much, but like I've had some people like say like, girl, no, you need to get your together because this is going to happen to you when you get a certain age. And I didn't believe them because I'm like, well, people that I care about don't tell me this type of stuff, so why would I don't know you, you're a stranger, you're a motherfucking stranger, I don't know you, I don't take advice from strangers. No, but it was literally just more being like naive and a little bit in denial, and that's okay. Like you live and you learn from certain things like that. But having a lot of testosterone and in my body after having my son was kind of a wake-up call, and getting facial hair in places where I've never had facial hair, and developing this really strange body type was like, okay, what's going on? And a lot of people feel like hormones don't have anything to do with it, but it really, really does. And like when you take certain medicines, it can do stuff to your hormones. When you take certain supplements, it can do stuff to your hormones. When you take certain vitamins, it can do stuff to your hormones. It's like so many different factors, and because a lot of things are processed differently now than what they were before, and a lot of foods are injected with more stuff than they were before because they're trying to make sure that everybody is fed, because there's so many different new ingredients coming out. excuse me, especially for chicken, like that's such a high demand. And I've always loved chicken ever since I was 4 years old. Like I used to go to Wales. My mom used to buy some 24 piece. Me, my sister, my brother, we used to split that while she had her little catfish dinner or whatever. Baby, one day they didn't want none of that 24 piece. I ate the whole thing, and they changed their mind when I was on my last bite of chicken. Oh well, but I just love it. Like it's my faves. So as I got older, that's pretty much my go-to, and I didn't really care or notice how much hormones that they were putting in it. It was just like, okay, I have like chicken, like I want chicken, that's all I wanted, and I didn't want nothing else. And now I'm more aware and I'm more comfortable with the fact that like, nah, so you gotta eat something different. You gotta eat more than just chicken. I mean, I like lamb and goat and all that. People made lamb chops so expensive now. I can't even get a lamb. Okay, y'all done did too much with the lamb. But it's hard to find goat in America. Really, it's hard to find goat in America unless you go to like an Asian market or African market. And still, it's hard to find goat in America. For me anyway. But I've learned so much about my body and about the things that work for me. I'm learning how to handle my PCOS and how to get my hormones back in shape. Another reason why it's really important to work out and to know what's going on with your body, because not everything is about having a BBL looking body from a gym, or not everything is about looking slim and looking whatever you want to look like. It's also about your health, and if your health isn't good, your physical and mental health isn't good, it's not going to work. So guys, it's about that time. I know, I don't feel good, guys. I really don't feel good, and I'm really cozy. But I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for joining my podcast. Bye. Hi, besties. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, share, and comment on all of my social media accounts. Bye.